What's up everyone? I'm Twisted. A brand new season is right around the corner, and that means that the Summoner's Rift is getting a brand new look. Well, kinda. This time around Riot is playing it safe when it comes to changes to the map, likely because of the negative feedback they received from players about the map changing too much. So now we don't even get new minion skins, no new background, fountains and alcoves are basically the same and there's barely any new details outside of the bases. They didn't even change the symbol in the mid lane. A bit of an overcorrection in my opinion. But hey, at least the new details are nice, and so that's what we'll be taking a look at in this video. Let's start with the fountain on the blue side where we can find our good old Yordle lady. I believe her outfit is based on the Durand family we see in LOR. From the vest to the dress to even this texture right here. Perhaps our lady is also a stonemason or a sculptor. Her companion also received a makeover. Amongst many generic Demacian props, we can find an Archangel staff. This sword should be a BF sword, and this shield right here should be a Aegis of the Legion, though their inclusion might also be a nod to this card from LOR. Next to the duo is a bunch of Petricite blocks. Now, surely you know that these come from the Petricite trees around Demacia. What you might not know is that to turn them into an actual building material, Demacians mix the wood with ash and lime. Around the map you might also be able to spot an axe, likely used on these trees. On the other side of the map we can see that the shopkeeper's boat is now a Demacian vessel. He too looks more Demacian, sporting their blues and gold. On his jacket we can spot the OG Demacian crest, which is also on this book right here in front of him. Next to it are some potions and swords. There's actually a lot of swords and props here, but I'm not sure if they are referencing anything or if they are just skins for the items that were already here in the normal Summoner's Rift. That's something that the Noxian map also did, so it wouldn't surprise me. Now let's take a look at the new structures. These are now made of Petricite and gold, as you can see. There's a lot of wing imagery, which in Demacia goes back to their deities, the winged protectors, Kale and Morgana. If you see anything in Demacia with wings, it's likely a reference to them, or, of course, to the silver wing raptors. I believe the crystals here, while also present in the old structures, might be a nod to the blue crystals we see around the city of Demacia. The only thing we know about these come from the Realms of Runeterra book, so grain of salt, I don't know if this is still canon. But according to the book, these gems should contain elemental magic, though the Demacians are probably no longer aware of that. The Nexus has these stained glass wings, a reference to the new prestige skin. We've seen references to skins inside the map before, but it's funny that it happened twice for Morgana. We might be seeing more of this aesthetic in the lore of this season, as it's currently not that present in Demacia. The turrets now depict silver wing raptors, but these are probably also referencing Gorleaf from LOR, a Petricite silver wing golem created by the Durand family. The inhibitors are fountains slash water wheels. Not much to say here, but you can see how the water that comes from them flows into these swords on the ground, at least in this side of the map. The other side is a bit more chaotic as usual. Around the map we can also spot many Demacian props, so let's take a look at them. Here are some Demacian banners. These swords right here are based on art we've seen before. These shields seem to be loosely based on the bright steel shields from LOR. As for these blades, I believe these are brand new, at least I don't recognize them. And finally, when it comes to weapons, we can find bows, crossbows and arrows, all very common in Demacia's arsenal. You might also be able to spot a couple Demacian helmets. These two seem to be based on a very old piece of concept art. This one matches the designs we've seen in the Warrior cinematic, and finally this one is probably just a generic low-ranking helmet. Next to the bases we can find 3 references to Demacian characters, but first in this one we can spot a gold object that seems to be broken. This is likely tied to something we'll see in the next season, the same way the Noxian map had a frozen X on the top alcove before we saw Darius fighting Trundle. But in front of this object is Cithria's wooden sword from LOR, the one she had when she first arrived in the capital of Demacia. I really hope to see Cithria in this season. Here we can spot the throne of Jarvan III with his crown on top of it. Being the king of Demacia, it's also likely that he'll show up somewhere in this season. And finally, we can find a tribute to Zhao, an altar with his broken spear. Now this could be hinting that we'll see a continuation of that story, but this could also just be a nod to the previous season and not really something that will be explored further, though I do hope it's at least mentioned somewhere. Also, you might notice a couple white lilies around these spots. I believe these are based on those we see in the artwork of the story Fragile Legacies. Candles can also be seen in this artwork, as well as in the card Remembrance. Both are related to the death and mourning of soldiers that passed away, so it makes perfect sense for them to be here next to Shin's spear. Why we can see them next to Jarvan's throne and Cithria's sword, now that I do not know. These could be teasers for upcoming lore, or just Riot reusing assets. We'll need to wait to find out. Around the mid lane we can spot a hammer and chisel, direct references to the artwork of Durand sculptor from LOR. Next to them are schematics and a small sculpture. These are for the tale of Gorleaf, again also from LOR. We can also spot another hammer, this one being based on concept art from LOR, some scrolls and the bag of Shirin, aka the Durand protege from LOR. With so many references to the Durand family and their creations, I do wonder if we are finally seeing more of them in the lore. And so these were all the details added to Summoner's Rift. Like I said, I think Riot overcorrected when it comes to not making too many changes to the map. I understand that they are just following the feedback they got, but I think a new background, new mid lane texture, or even new minion skins wouldn't have bothered players that much. But what do you think? Do you like the new map changes? Let me know down below, and also tell me if there's any detail I missed in this video. Also, consider subscribing if you haven't already. It's free and you can always change your mind later. I'm Twisted, and I'll see you guys in the next video.